folks, and welcome. Another video, isn't it? We're on a bit of a roll here. So, in case you haven't seen the last video, I bought a BMW Z4 for the same price as a brand new iPhone. And so far, it's been so good. I've been daily driving it, it's my only car at the minute, and I like it. But I need to know what's wrong with it. I've not been underneath it. I don't actually know if there's any issues with the car. There's a couple of drawbacks that I've already mentioned in the first video that needs addressing here, but I need to see what it's like on the ramps. It also needs an oil filter, air filter service as well too. So I've come to Power Evolution here down in Surrey. They specialise in BMWs, and they're basically gonna have a look at my Z4 and see whether I've bought a shed or whether I've bought a good car. So here she is. She's right over here. They've got a few bits in stock, to be fair. They've got this 635D, that's running 500 odd horsepower. Bit of a monster, that. They've also got an E30 BMW 3 Series. That's a bit of a Frankenstein. In fact, look at that. It's got the 4.4 V8 engine, limited slip diff, manual gearbox. It's my kind of car, really. So they do specialise in predominantly BMWs, but they've also got this as well too, which is one of the owner's cars. Lovely Evo that's been forged. But here's mine, the Z4. Obviously looking quite good at a distance. It's got a couple of bits wrong with it, like for example the backrest has come loose. That seems to not go wrong. Obviously the wheels have been curved, there's condensation on the lights, but hey, for what I paid for, it's been all right, and I've been enjoying it, and the weather's been okay as well too. So I've had the roof down this morning, but yeah, more importantly, we need to find out what is actually wrong with this car, whether it's all right. There is a couple of issues with it. The gearbox makes a clonky noise as well too as you're driving along. It's not dramatic, it's still drivable. But yeah, since obviously I've bought it, I've done a couple of thousand miles on it. I bought it with 96 on the clock. It's now got 98, and it's soon going to come to 100,000 because it's my daily driver. So let's get it on the ramp, see what it's like, and go from there. Right then, so Z4 on the ramp, and this is Graham. How you doing?
Hi guys.
You all right? So what are you doing today?
Yeah, just obviously going to give a general vehicle check on your car to make sure it's all healthy, give an oil and filter change, and give the pollen filter a good change. First, we start off by going in the engine, checking through there, seeing what we've got, see if there's any oil leaks, any coolant leaks, and we'll give a good check over.
Well, you specialise on BMW, so you know what to look out for on Z4s, isn't there, really?
Yeah, we'll have a look. So first thing I'll obviously be checking is up the top ends. Very common on the oil leaks on rocker covers, and very common also oil leaks on the oil filter housings. So we'll have a good look at that first and check it over for you.
But majority of the stuff is obviously E46, obviously 2.5 from the E46.
Yeah, the majority of the vehicle is basically based on the E46 platform. Got the old M54 engine, very reliable engine, so it doesn't really go wrong at all, really. Running an E46 back end on it as well, so yeah. But
that worries me, E46 back end, because that could also mean rust, crack.
We occasionally do, but it's very unusual on the Z4 platform, just because there's not as much power running through as on the old M3 platform, which used to crack on the floors. The 3 litres did occasionally, but again, not as common as the M3. So
also, you can have a look at that clonking noise from the gearbox.
On your back end, which is mentioned, which we suspect is either going to be a prop bush or diff issue. So we'll have a look at that.
No, that's fair enough. And what do you think of Z4s overall then? Good bargain?
I like the Z4. I think it's a nice looking car, nice driving car. I think it's a very nice little roadster. So, and at the moment, nice and cheap and easy to get into. So
yeah, exactly. It gives a bit of a different element, a different perspective, especially from my point of view. I was telling the audience about that 635D as well too. That's how much horsepower?
Just over 500 horsepower at the moment. Hopefully be more soon.
And a shed load of torque as well too.
And a shed load of torque, absolute shed.
And that's your Evo up there as well too.
That is my Evo up there at the moment. Yep. So at the moment it's only currently running about 320 brake, but in the middle of building a Force engine for it. So we'll have that done. Have a new gearbox made for it. And yeah, hopefully be running around about 600 brake on that shortly.
Wow. So obviously these guys then at Power Evolution don't only just work on BMWs, they also like to do engine swaps and a lot of modifications, which has given me some ideas of what we could do with the Z4. Let me know what you want to see on this car. Anyway, I better let him crack on. I know it's a diesel, but I want to hear what this 635D sounds like. It's got an actual Krapovic on it as well too.
Yep.
Oh wow, let's hear it. That does sound obviously like a diesel, but very whooshy as well too. You can hear a lot of the turbo whistle from there. It's got carbon bonnet. Oh wow, look at that. I like the colour of the cover as well too. So how much torque we reckon?
I've got to see the latest torque figures on it. It's going up to G-Car Performance, being remapped again in 2 weeks' time. So I hope we get even more power out of it, and then we'll have an updated torque figures. I know last time it did peak at just on 1,000 newton meters, but it had to be dialed down due to the gearbox. Basically just couldn't handle it. So it's going to have a bit of gearbox work done to it as well, and hopefully we can peak for that 1,000 newton meters of torque.
Maybe when it's done I could take it out for a little spin.
Sure, we can have a word with the customer to get that sorted out for.
Absolutely, let's do that. But yeah, it's interesting with the 6 Series and the Z4. They were obviously designed by Chris Bangle, and Chris Bangle was, well, he was very much criticising the grille for how ugly BMW were and are. Obviously he did the 7 Series as well too, and the 3 Series and the E85 Series. But as time goes on, I mean, the Z4 is starting to look really good for its age. The 6 Series is starting to look good for its age as well too. Maybe Chris Bangle was a genius. Maybe he saw ahead of time, because to me that doesn't look like an old car. Neither does the Z4. Not even 5 minutes in and you've already found an issue, haven't you?
Yeah, oil filter housing gasket is leaking on the vehicle already.
Oh, it wouldn't be a BMW if it wouldn't leak oil, would it? But it's a minor issue nonetheless.
Minor issue on it. It's not leaking horrifically at the moment, so one to keep an eye on really before that. But again, it's not an expensive fix either if it does need to be done.
No, it will eventually need doing, because obviously it's a daily at the minute, so obviously don't want it to be on the side of the road. Yeah, I did notice there's a scrape as you go over the humps, and that's the result, the under tray.
Yeah, that's certainly hit a speed bump or something as we're out going.
Yeah, I mean,
I say there's no salvageable parts on that. I think that's a removable job. We'll take that off.
Take that off. Lightweight, you know, save a few kilos on that. Do you reckon that's something to do with your leak?
You've certainly got your leakages up here, so this is where we can see
you're
leaking there. And they say again, that's a common sign for the oil filter housing.
Okay.
Leaking there, so.
But obviously, I mean, you can see it's had. That needs really
little nicks and bobs really for it hit speed bumps and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a low enough car, and you can hit bits and bobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's 19 years old, and I mean, I've done a couple of thousand miles in it, and I've just been daily driving it, and it's been good as gold to me. It's not put a foot wrong, but it looks pretty tidy. All right.
Oh, we've got a bit of a gearbox oil leak on here as well.
There we go. That could explain the majority of the.
So yeah, we've got that. Again, that looks like it's coming out the output shaft seal on the back, which is just up here on the back of the gearbox. So we'll check the levels and stuff on the back there. Just make sure we've got there.
Just at the end of the day, all you got to tell me, Graham, is it a shitter or not? That's all you got to say.
So far, not. Good news is, looking at the sun plug and the air filter that's come out so far, it certainly looked like she's had some maintenance carried out. That oil's not bad at all. It's quite relatively clean for that, so it looks like it's certainly been recently maintained.
Okay. Well, it did come with stacks of paperwork, to be fair. He did say, the owner who had this before did say that it did have a service, and obviously it's got a fresh MOT on it as well too. Yeah,
it certainly looks like it has had some maintenance carried out recently, so...
That's good. That's a positive sign at least.
That's it.
So obviously there was a coolant light that popped up, and I thought that was a bit of a myth and didn't take much notice, but there is actually a bit of a coolant
we
problem.
have found a little coolant leak on the thermostat housing. We were just leaking right up the top here. And you can notice the pink antifreeze running down and round.
Oh right, yeah, I see it.
You can see that, and I mean, I noticed it just here, what's obviously first alerted me to it.
What do you reckon that is? Just...
It looks like a thermostat housing at the top there, so I can see it all leaking, running around it and all around the base of it. So, yeah, replacement thermostat housing, possibly upgrade it to the metal type housing rather than the plastic one.
Cool, lovely stuff. Good. Lovely stuff, but so far it's not too bad. It's got some wear and tear issues, but 19 years old, 98,000. 19 years old,
I was going to say, it's had the normal maintenance being done. The rear bushes have been replaced already on it.
Cool.
Stuff like that. It's all got all new belts and stuff on it. They're all nice and new and stuff. Yeah, it's had what I would assume the normal wear and tear items have generally been replaced on it. So yeah, nothing major to report as of yet.
So it's all right. It's a good car.
It's not a wrong one. It's not a wrong one.
It's not a wrong one. Okay, because I thought I bought a turd, but actually it's all right. Okay, that's a bit of a relievement.
It's a salvageable one.
So you know that clonking noise I was saying every time you change gear, and the fact that when you do donuts, basically it makes a juddery noise from the differential. Well, Graham has found the problem.
Yep,
Talk to me.
We have got silver oil in the rear diff, which will be indicating worn diff bearings inside. Starting to clonk up, start making a bit of noise. So, yep, replacement diff or rebuild this diff, but as we know, Sid always likes a bit of sideways action, so limited slip diff it should be.
It is a limited, yeah. Any time for an excuse now to put a limited slip diff on, yeah, it needs one clearly, because this one's shot, and that explains some of the clonking noises from it. But like I said, it does need a slippy diff. Be good to get one. Anyone does diffs? Quaif, are you listening? Help us out. But yeah, it does need a slippy diff. But so far, it's not too bad. Obviously, the paint is shocking on this car. It's had a respray in the past, and whoever's done it has obviously done it in the dark at night, probably in the fog. It's just awful, but again, didn't pay much for it, so it doesn't matter too much. What I'm more interested in is obviously getting this car mechanically sound, and also what I'm gonna do with it, because there are so many ideas that's running through my head about what to do with this Z4. I don't know what to do. There was talks of maybe turbocharging it, maybe doing a V8 swap, maybe just sorting out the chassis and seeing what this car is like with the 2.5 engine and going from there, and then maybe later on do something else, because the idea of this content is basically to see if you can run a Z4 for cheap, and is it actually fun to drive, and do a couple of mods to it, like, you know, brakes, suspension, tyres, that sort of thing, exhaust as well too. So maybe we'll start with that, and then later on in the future do a couple of other bits. But obviously I'd like to see or know from you guys what you want to see from the Z4. So yeah, leave the comments down below on that. Car is now down on the ground, obviously the seat back. I've tried to pop it in as many times, Graham. I'm not a practical guy. I can just about drive the things, but this is, yeah, a bit of an issue.
Back on there.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously you're lubing her up, no pun intended.
Give her a bit of a lube. Everyone likes a bit of lube.
Yeah, who doesn't like lube? Probably have spoken a little bit too soon, because Graham has found another problem with the Z4. Talk to me.
Yeah, we have found that the roof drains are obviously blocked in it, so they need to be cleaned out, which we can look just down here. We can see the water just down the bottom there. And obviously there is a common for this doing that, and then they actually submerge the motors in the back and stop the roof from working. So
yeah,
certainly something to jump on.
Because one of the things about this, the roof works perfectly fine. Yep. In fact, mechanically it's okay. But I did do some research, and I did hear about this problem. Yeah, don't they move the motors, don't they?
You can move the motors out from the hole and move them out and get them internally, so they're in the boot out of the way, and then you don't have that particular problem. But yeah, we
just needs draining out, basically.
Needs to drain the blocks out to clean them out.
Obviously, oil filter done on the car. Obviously, you've checked over the differential on it. The next thing now is obviously plugging it in on the diagnostics and reading some of the fault codes. So, talk me through this, Graham. What have we got wrong with it?
We've got a few bits on there. A lot of them are on there. So some will obviously be history fault codes that the car's just stored. So we've got multiple fault codes for the convertible roof, but we know everything on the roof is on. So I'd imagine these are just history fault codes. We've got then to do with the central locking relays and the boot locking relays.
That's because it's got a non-genuine BMW key, which needs to be sorted out on it.
Nothing to majorly worry about. We've got a CAN bus interface fault code here, which again, but an unidentified fault code. Again, I reckon, because I've just gone to start it after the vehicle's just been with the ignition on for a couple of minutes, and I noticed it turned over a bit slowly, so it indicates to me that the battery's getting a little bit weak on the car. Okay. So that could possibly be causing our issues here.
Yep.
Stepper motor faults, and then it's got loads of bulb faults the same, but we've just checked all the bulbs. All the bulbs are working fine, so again, I'd imagine these are all history fault codes that the car's just stored and just logged them. Fault in the aerial power supply. Now this could be again to do with the water that's in the back, because there's an earth point for the aerial in the back there. So it could well be there. Now once we get in there, strip that out, have a quick look at that. We check that earth point, make sure that's nice and clean and stuff.
Okay, sweet, lovely stuff, no worries.
Under voltage fault code again. Obviously we're looking here, like I say, battery's a little bit weak, so that doesn't surprise me. And then we've got, what does come up is a pressure sensor on the DSC. Now I will run a test on the pressure sensors to make sure they are working correctly. But again, another common fault on the Z4 and the E86 is there's two sensors on what we call the master cylinder. and they go 40 and cause loads of problems with lights coming on the dashboard. But as we know at the moment, we've got no lights on the dashboard, so I'll just run a test just to confirm that they are correct and fine.
A lot of the bits there are some faults, but most of the time it's all right. It's nothing yet. So
most of these are all fine. They're just what I would call history fault codes that have just been stored. There's no actual worries about it at all.
Okay, so really, so the things that we know that are faults on the car is the diff, obviously that's gone. The water that's basically near the sunroof. That's pretty much it.
We've got a couple of oil leaks, minor oil leaks on the car, but nothing.
Could do with a battery as well too. I noticed that because I remember once, I stupidly left the lights on, but only for about 5 minutes, and it wouldn't crank over. So I guess that it had a weak battery. So it's all right then. It's not. It does need a little bit of tidying up, as I thought.
Just needs general maintenance for an older vehicle, so nothing I would say that's horrendous, really.
And then, so basically, really, the plan of action then is obviously try and order bits in, come back, get it sorted on the car. The next bit would be to sort out suspension, see what we can do on that, make it drive a little bit better, put my own little touch on it, and you never know. This could end up with a big engine sold. Who knows? Who knows?
Sounds good to me.
Exactly. Right then.
We are done.
We are done. So, verdict.
But it's not a bad car, needs a bit of TLC, needs a little bit tidying up, but it can all be done.
So for the money I give for it.
The money you gave for it, you got a bargain.
Okay, cool. So I haven't bought a shed.
You haven't bought a shed, no.
So it's good, it's been good. All right, so as we already mentioned, diff needs changing.
Diff needs changing.
Couple
of oil leaks.
Couple of oil leaks, draining out the water.
Out the roof drains, but nothing major at all.
Okay, so I'll be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Getting all the bits sorted, maybe find a limited slip diff for this car as well too. Obviously I want to upgrade a few bits on it, just make it that a little bit sharper to drive as well too, because I think, with adjustable suspension, slippy diff, a little bit more poke out of the 2.5, I think there's a couple more ponies on it.
Room for improvement like this.
Yeah, there might be room for a turbo as well too.
There might be room for a turbo,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Get a few more ponies out of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, because they don't weigh much, will they? 1,300 kilos, give or take.
Not a lot at all. Nice sharp handling on them, so tighten them up a bit. Drop the suspension slightly, like I say, adjustable coilovers on the stuff, and maybe a couple of braces here and there. We'll soon get it going and getting turning in nicely.
Brilliant, lovely stuff. Well, look, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. So obviously oil filter's done on that, and it's had a little service, so it's good for a little bit as well too. Make sure you check out Power Evolution. Obviously I'm going to do more stuff with these guys as well too. You're on Instagram as well too, you're on Facebook, you've got a website as well too. So yeah, make sure you check them out because they do, you do everything. BMWs, you're not shy to touch anything.
No, not shy to touch BMWs. Obviously a lot of the German stuff, no problem. And I love my Jap stuff because of things like that,
Exactly. And you do modifications as well too.
And we do modifications.
So there you go. Go check them out. Obviously, Z4, it's had a bit of a service done, bit of TLC. We now know some of the issues with the car. I'm glad the fact that I haven't bought a shed. And I'm enjoying it. It's a sunny day. I'm going to go out for a little bit of a spin, see what it's like. But let me know what you think of the BMW Z4. What should I do next? My plan is probably suspension, limited slip diff, a little bit more power, exhaust as well too, because it's a straight six and it just doesn't, it's a bit muted. So let me know in the comments down below what you want to see on this car. But I'm loving it at the minute. For the money I've given for it, I'm well chuffed with it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, guys, see you later.